From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's the T-Birds Coaches Show, bringing you game breakdowns, expert analysis, and exclusive interviews. Here's your host, Tom Myler.
Welcome back, T-Bird fans, to another great Casper College Coaches Show episode, because, as always, we have a great episode when we have Coach Emmett Bennett here with us. Coach, welcome back.
Thanks.
We like having you here. We like talking about women's soccer. It's great.
Seems like just a week ago I was here.
I know, right? Huh. Weird how that works out, right? I got to love it, though. So, Coach, we had a great weekend.
We did.
Might not have been necessarily the best way to win, but, hey, that's getting a little picky. But at this stage in the season, you kind of need to be that way, right?
Everybody's on top of their game. Everybody's trying to make the playoffs. Everybody's playing the best they can. So whatever early results other teams might have had, you might watch some film, but that's not always the case of what you're going to necessarily see when you play them.
Well, and a great example of that, you can look at Otero. We were their first game of the season,
right?
And then now that they've kind of flipped it a little bit, where they're playing a little bit better. So it's like if you play
100%.
them again in the playoffs, it's going to be a completely different result from a 5-1.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up, because at the end of that game, we brought everybody in and said, "Hey, great win." I know it was kind of a revenge game a little bit because they had knocked us out of everything last year. But we said, whatever, that's a great result. But I can guarantee you that will not be the team that you could potentially see later. In fact, they just played Laramie to a 1-1 tie.
Yeah.
So yeah, the teams figure things out. The coaches figure it out. They start moving players and putting them in the right spots, and teams always get better. So yeah, we know that, and same thing with us. We're going through some injuries, but we definitely are doing some things a lot better. We still have to work on things and fix some things, but that's what you always do.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily for you, I feel like you still have that depth that, hey, if making some movements, it's not going to drop off play much. So that's what I've really enjoyed about this team, is that anyone can score. You've got a solid defense. Brittany Edgar's been solid there in the middle for you for like the whole season. She's really fun to watch. Michelle Cave always there, and then Kaylin Galp. Man, I had to give her a shout out this last. I think it was even Central or maybe even Northwest. But man, she's solid in the middle for you. Really controls the tempo.
She really does a good job. All those girls, we've had some girls have to step up and even play some slightly different spots in the last couple of games because of some injuries, and they've come through. So.
Yeah, that one was definitely a fun one, too, to see Kennedy Henley up instead of a defender as a forward, gets a goal of all things, and then even Rachel Brown getting in there. And
right.
She was fun and scrappy and
getting after it.
Quick.
Right.
So that's, sometimes just that kind of change of pace or that just different.
It gives an energy. Sometimes you put players in spots and you just tell them, say, just go play.
Yeah.
And they might ask, well, what am I supposed to do? Just go play. Just go do what you think you need to do. And that era of just going and playing, can even throw off the other team, because they're not expecting, who's that kid? And they go out there and, like I said, Kennedy Henley steps in and scores a goal. So it makes me look like a genius when something like that happens. So
You're not? I thought you were a coach.
Very average person.
Well, we'll call you a genius for our purposes for now, because we like you, and we'll just throw that label on you. We'll call you a genius.
Fair
Genius, enough. Coach Genius Ammon Bennett with us today. So let's talk a little bit more about it. Let's talk about that first game, Northwest 2-1 result. Let's get a little bit more into it. What did we see, the good, the bad, and what can be improved?
Yeah, well, Northwest is a pretty strong team. They've lost a couple of games where they've outplayed the group. They lost to Western Wyoming, a game they could have won. Again, and Western Wyoming's a very good team. They still have Laramie coming up, and that'll be really interesting. I think in a lot of ways Northwest was stronger than Laramie, at least in our two matchups. They came out, and they've got a couple of wide players that are really fast. They're what we call dribblers. They get the ball and they want to go, and they try to beat multiple players going in, and they do. And our job in that was, hey, just delay them, get in the way, make them pass the ball in the end to somebody else, and neither one of them score. We gave up a goal late in the game, which was little bit frustrating, but
A couple of those scrums where it's just
right.
bouncing around.
The ball came out off a corner kick, and we won it initially, kind of a half clearance. A girl takes a shot and it goes through a bunch of girls' legs, and Emmy can't see it, and it's nobody's really fault. It just happens. But some of that's got to be cleaned up. But they were a very good team. That's a team that playoff scenarios you could see them again. And I, to be honest with you, not sure that I want to see that team again.
Right.
But it was a good game, and we expected that it would be good, and they're well coached. But that team again, they come in, and we have to remind our players that they're coming into not only beat Casper, but it's the whole idea of our women's team has only lost one game in conference in 3 years. Northwest has played us tough, but they've never beaten us.
Mm-hmm.
If they did beat us, it was our very first year. They might have tied us, or maybe they even got us 2-1. But it's been again, that was 4 years ago. So everybody wants to knock you off when you're in that spot, and they know that we don't have any losses in the league this year. We're technically in first because we don't have any losses, and so everybody wants to win, and they want to make the playoffs too. So it's important that you come in and you get a result, you get a tie, or you get some points, and we've got to be able to match that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's got to feel good knowing that, hey, we're the leader in this region. We're going to get everyone's best. Like, you just
Right.
have to expect that at this point of, like, Casper College is the big scary person. It's like, you know what? We're going to play them like they're our Region 9 championship.
Right.
And it's just like, well, girls, you have to expect that.
Well, and we hope that it prepares us for stuff beyond just a region title. I mean, the team does want to win the region title and which is also a district championship, and get to nationals. When you're playing everybody and they bring their best every time, you hope that in some ways prepares you and doesn't wear you out too much. So
Yeah, I mean, you've already talked about the injuries and whatnot. Not season ending or anything, but
Right.
looking forward, it might have a limited playing time until the playoffs. So we'll hopefully get back to full health.
Right.
But I mean, either way, it was still a great win, 2-1. And then Central, I thought, was great, especially that first half, scoring 3 goals. That second half, though, it was almost a completely different defense and kind of look from Central, but still ended up scoring 1 and still, I thought, handled very well.
yeah, and even Central came out in the first 10 minutes. They were really pressing. They were all over us. In fact, right off the kickoff, which we had, we played the ball back. They immediately pressed. We try to make a pass. It bangs off of her, goes to another girl, bangs off of their player, and then Emmy even goes to clear the ball away, and their defender steps and bangs off of her for a goal kick. So right off the bat, we were not prepared for how hard they were going to press, and they did a good job. And for the first 10 minutes, they kind of had us on our heels, and then we started to gain some possession. I think we scored around the 15-minute mark, and we're able to maintain that. We're able to play, everybody on the roster that could. In the end, it was 4-0. But they're a good team too. They have players that if you make a mistake, they're going to beat you on it. And we were fortunate to not make the big mistake. I think between our keepers we only had to make 4 saves, and they weren't difficult saves.
Right.
But again, yeah, when you're able to finish and score, that works. And in that game, we had to move some players around, and we had a couple of injuries, key players from the game before.
Mm-hmm.
Even the day before, a couple kids that were sick that didn't play very well. So hopefully we're getting past all of that, and moving forward to our next game, which will be just as important in Gillette.
Yeah, perfect. So let's get talking about the Gillette game here Saturday. So we're here, 1 o'clock, against Gillette. What can we expect?
Good team. They've improved a lot from last year. Very different team from last year. They're able to possess the ball a little bit better. They've got some girls that can score. They have a girl on the team, I think, that has 14 goals.
Oh.
One of the games, to be honest, I think she scored 6 goals against Trinidad, who's way down. But she's dangerous. They've got a transfer girl that's got 8 goals. Another girl, a local girl that went to Kelly Walsh High School, plays for them, has 4 goals. So, I mean, they have girls that have been scoring goals. And last year they just didn't have that ability to be able to challenge and get some shots off. So they definitely have that. It's the same scenario. We have to go out. We have to be the better team, the more aggressive team, the smarter team, move the ball better team from the start. We do that, we're going to be fine. If we come back and we get on our heels and we allow them to press and get some confidence early, probably not a good recipe. But again, they're I think they're in 6th place. They're fighting for their playoffs. Only the top 6 teams make the playoffs, so they want a result. A tie or a win keeps them in that mix. For us, a win keeps us on the path to win the regular season and host the tournament. So that's what it's all about in that game, and that's what we're after.
Yeah, we definitely would love to have you here hosting, because I definitely like watching those games and being able to call that. And one thing I definitely noticed, and I mean, you mentioned that they have the ability to score, but something I feel like that our defense does really well, and you've mentioned this before, is they keep the other team in front of them. They don't necessarily attack or go after the ball, but they don't let them get turned around. They don't let them get a shot off, so it's like they are forced to pass it to someone else. And so I feel like that defense has done a very good job.
Yeah, I think we've given up 3 goals in conference. I think for the year we've given up 7 goals for the year, which is pretty good. I think we scored 35, 36, something like that, with still 3 games to go. So the goal differential is huge on our end. I think that's the best statistic in the conference. So yeah, I mean, it's an emphasis that we work on a lot. If you're preventing the other team from scoring, you're always in the game, no matter the opponent.
Right.
You could be playing the number 1 team in the nation, and they're out shooting you 30-0, but everything's outside the 18, and they're not scoring on you because it's make it difficult. All it takes is for you to have one opportunity, and you can win that game. We haven't been on that perspective this year, being that
right.
far down. I mean, but we've had 1 or 2 teams that have maybe had a few more shots than us, but most of their shots have all been outside of the 18. And when you're preventing and you're having that kind of shot, it's just harder to score the further you are away. And with numbers in front, it's a good combination.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even too, on the other end with your scoring ability, that's also improved throughout the season. At the beginning, the shot efficiency wasn't necessarily there, but I mean, even from these last 2 games, we saw, hey, you're putting the ball in frame, and 2,
Right.
most of the time, maybe 1 out of 4, however it might be, maybe a third, it's going in.
Right. We were, it's funny. At the beginning of the year, we would overpossess the ball,
Yeah.
and we'd move it around, but then we were never kind of putting it in the 18 or making it dangerous. And so we changed that thought process a little bit. And it's funny because now we probably need to possess a little more. And there just needs to be that balance. Again, it felt like in the last couple of games, we'd win the ball, we'd move it 2 or 3 passes, and then we'd just try to dump it in there long, and we'd kind of give it back to the other team. And so the emphasis in the last couple of days is, hey, I like that idea of getting it up in there because you got to get it there to score, but sometimes we're doing that too early. And when you're up on a team 2-0 and they're reeling a little bit, man, move that ball, make them chase you, get them even more tired. Don't give them a chance to get back in. Northwest, we were up 2-0, and we gave them that chance to get back in when all of a sudden they make it 2-1, and then all of a sudden we're a little panicked, and that happens in the game. The momentum can shift really quick. A game that's 2-0 that goes to 3-0 in your favor, now it's big time in your favor because players just perceive, even if we score, we still have 2 more to tie it. In a 2-1 game, hey, if we score, anything can happen now.
Right.
We can have 30 seconds left and we can still tie it up and walk away with a result. So maintaining that idea of not just panicking, kicking it around, but let's move that ball a little bit better. That'll be a point of emphasis the next few days.
Awesome. So for this weekend against Gillette here, what's one thing you want for your girls to do or focus on that will mean you're going to end up with a good result?
Yeah, just be stronger from the start. Come out and control it from the start. Have some confidence to move the ball around and be very fundamental. We don't need to try a whole bunch of one-touch passes. Let's control the ball. Let's move the ball. And find that balance between, do we need to pass it 37 times before we put it in the 18? or are we just going to kick it long every time? And the answer on either side of those is no. Let's just find a better balance and have it be a really, really good, solid team win.
Well, that's what we're looking forward to, and have a nice, solid team win. We need that momentum to keep going forward, keep climbing that mountain, finally peak at the right moment. We're excited.
Yeah, it's sophomore day too, so all the girls that have been here for a couple of years, we kind of honor them, and we try to get every one of them in the game at some point to get out there and have their last regular season game, get some playing time.
All right. So you hear that? Be there at 1 o'clock, Casper College Moraine playing field. Sophomore day, so we get to show off some of the awesome sophomores that we have. And before we go, we got one final thing to recognize Coach Hammond Bennett here, who was officially inducted into the Iowa Western Hall of Fame. And if you want to check out that video, go to Casper College Women's Soccer, their Facebook page, and to their Instagram page. You can kind of check out that whole story of the introduction. And it's really nice.
Thanks, appreciate it.
So thank you, Coach. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And, well, fans, we will see you next time.